So this video is specifically for those realtors who are in the residential world and looking to transition into commercial real estate agents. In this video, I'm gonna literally break it down step by step about the transitional process that I took to go from selling 100 residential homes per year to now selling over $100 million a year in commercial real estate. Stay tuned. What's up, everybody? My name is Henry Eisenstein, and if you don't know who I am, I've been a part of over $450 million worth of real estate transactions, and I'm only 28 years old. And again, in this video, I'm gonna be breaking down the simple steps of transitioning from a residential realtor into a commercial master. And the very first thing that I want to be talking about specifically is setting a goal, because you have to be super clear of where you want to go in order to know how to get there. Because what I've heard most is that real estate agents come to me, and they're in the residential world mainly, and they say, Henry, I'd love to start selling commercial real estate. I'm like, okay, tell me more about that. What does that actually mean to you? What does the next 3 to 5 years even look like? Do you want to be a full-time commercial realtor? Do you want to just sell and know how to sell a few commercial deals each and every single year? Like, what is the purpose of coming to me and or just having that question in general? In my eyes, my vision was that I wanted to be a commercial broker. I own commercial properties. I want to own a lot of commercial properties. I want to own billions of dollars. I want to have a huge fund. Like that is a big part of it. And I also wanted to be the go-to commercial broker in the country for investment deals. That is my vision. That being said, there wasn't really any room to be a residential agent. I realized a few years ago, and I was working 100 plus hours a week to make a little over $1 million a year in GCI, and I was freaking exhausted. So my vision was that even a few years ago, and I said, I'm not on that trajectory. I'm not on that. I'm making good money, but I'm not on the trajectory in which I wanted to be in. And I was like, I need to be a commercial agent focused. Like that needs to be 99% of what I do, if not 100% of what I do. Maybe here and there I help, my family and friends, sell a piece of real estate, whether it's their house or whatever. And I have an agent who handles that, but that can't be my focus. So that was my goal. You need to ask yourself, what is your goal? Because if it's only to sell 1 or 2 commercial properties a year, totally okay. But that transitional process will look a little bit different. And if you want to be a 100% all-in commercial broker and just do commercial real estate, whether it's on the tenant rep side or on the sales side, that is going to look entirely different than just a part-timer. So set the goal, be really clear. What is your why? What do you want? What is your vision? And what do you want your business, your career to look like over the next 3 to 5 years? Because that's going to help set the tone for the rest of the video. Point number 2 is mindset. It's important to realize that this type of transition is going to take some time. It took me nearly 1.5 years to completely switch out of the residential side, which is pretty fast in true retrospect, but for some of you, it might take longer depending on where your business is at right now. Having the mindset that it's going to take some time and it's going to be a period of time to transition instead of all of a sudden I'm going to go from selling residential to only selling commercial. It doesn't work like that. The biggest mistake that I've seen residential realtors make when transitioning into the commercial world is that they immediately stop prospecting for residential deals. So if they made $100,000 a year as a residential agent, they'll stop prospecting for new business on the residential side, and they're only going to be prospecting on the commercial side. So all of a sudden, what do you think their income does? It does a huge drop is what it actually does. And they don't make any money for a period of time. And then all of a sudden, this idea of going from a residential agent to a commercial agent to make more money isn't a reality, or it becomes incredibly more difficult. The mindset is it takes a period of time, and you're not going to just stop calling what's currently making you money. Continue doing what makes you money, and I want to show you through this process of exactly how to easily and monetarily transition from residential to commercial. So let's dive into the very first step. After we've talked about the vision and after you've gotten the right mindset that it will take some time, I call it the 80-20 principle. Yes, the Pareto principle comes up again. Everything in life I really feel like is an 80-20 principle. In this sense, I look at it like this. If you're making $100,000 a year, like we said in the previous example, and you want to start transitioning into only doing commercial, like let's say that's your vision, I want to be a commercial agent and that's all I want to do. What you're going to do is you're going to choose 1 day a week, every week, for the next 30 days to 60 days that you're going to be prospecting for commercial. We talked in other videos where you're going to be prospecting from a minimum of 3 hours to a maximum of 10 or 11 or 12 hours. You'll be prospecting all day. But 1 day a week, you choose to be prospecting for commercial real estate. Just 1 day a week. Because you don't want to stop what's currently making you money. Because again, if you just all of a sudden completely stop doing what you're doing, it's going to tank your income. So what I did was that 1 day a week, I started off with 1 day a week, I would be prospecting for commercial. The other 4 days was all residential. After 30 days to 60 days where my income was stayed consistent, only doing 4 days instead of 5 days of prospecting, I started doing 2 days of commercial real estate and 3 days of residential, where then all of a sudden I started closing commercial deals. And then all of a sudden my commercial income, the income from commercial real estate sales, started to go up. And the residential deals did not fall too much at all. It maybe went down 2, 3, 4, 5%, whatever it is. It stayed relatively steady. And I had my commercial income coming in, where I started closing a couple commercial deals relatively consistently. All of a sudden there was a month I closed 1, maybe it was 0, then it went to 3, then it went to 2, and then it was 4. And I started having some consistency to the income on the commercial side, where when I was making $100,000 a month on the residential side, and that stayed consistent. And then I had one commercial closing for 25 grand, and maybe then 2 commercial closings for 50,000 or 40,000, where the income started almost becoming, whether it was a third of my income or even 50-50, where I started making 150 grand and then 200 grand, maybe 120, but 50% of it was still the commercial side, where my income it never really dropped, but it stayed relatively consistent. And if it wasn't consistent, it was only up. But that happened because I was slowly transitioning. The 80-20 was like 20% commercial and 80% residential, and then it became 40-60 and 50-50. All of a sudden then it was 60-40 the other way, and then it was 80-20 the other way, and now I only prospect for commercial real estate. It is only through this slow but consistent transition that you will never see a drop in your income. For those of which who try to go against it, your income will completely fall. So it's important to know that you only follow the money. If your income is going down, then I spend more time prospecting for residential if that's currently what made you majority of your money. If commercial real estate is making you a larger majority of your money, or even 50-50, and you're only taking 1 day a week to prospect for commercial, prospect for more of it, because then it's clearly working. But you have to pay attention to where your money's coming from. Again, if 80% is residential income, based on 80% of your time, it's not time to spend more time in the commercial world. But once the commercial business has slowly taken over on a consistent basis, which means 2 full quarters of your business has increased, where your income went from $10,000 a month from the residential side, now all of a sudden you're doing $12,000 or $15,000 or $20,000 plus consistently over a 2-quarter period of time. Minimum, 2 quarters. You have to have 6 full months of consistent increase in income, where now you can start transitioning more into the 50-50 commercial and 50-50 residential. It's gonna be really important to realize that you can't just jump right in. Your income's gonna drop. You're gonna slowly but surely prospect on the commercial side, so it can slowly but surely take more and more of a percentage of your income. That's when obviously you have more and more of a percentage of your time allocated to prospecting for commercial versus residential. Point number next is about getting a mentor and or a coach. If you do not understand how the commercial world works, I want you to know, and I will be super clear for those of you who are possibly new to the channel, it is a very different world, and that's okay. If you were in the commercial world, it's a little bit more complicated to get in the residential world because it's a very different process, very different prospects. The process is a little bit more complicated, especially if you're a residential agent going to the commercial world. The lingo, the way deals are analyzed, everything is just completely different. It is 2 completely different worlds. It's like doing addition and then algebra. It's very, very different. So if you don't have a mentor, you should hire a coach, someone who can kind of guide you through the process of transitioning from the residential world to the commercial world, because again, very, very different. And if you're thinking you're gonna try to do this on your own, it's gonna take you a lot longer to do it rather than just getting a good mentor or a great coach who can help you through that process. Point number next is all about new scheduling. We've talked about prospecting a lot, and we've talked about the slow transition. It's incredibly important to note that it is totally okay for someone to be spending 50% of their time prospecting commercial and 50% of their time prospecting for residential. It's more about how you speak about yourself than it is about what you prospect. Because when you're speaking things out into the world, into existence, if you just say, hey, I'm a residential realtor, when you meet somebody brand new out at a coffee shop or at a networking event, you are pigeonholing yourself into one little niche. However, if you go out and you say, hey, I'm a commercial realtor, but that's what you want to be known as, that's way more important. Even if 80% of your income comes from residential, you can start going out in places and saying, hey, I'm a commercial broker. I specialize in commercial real estate. Because how you speak about things is going to affect the rest of your career. When you're creating this new schedule, that has to reflect that. So your new schedule is gonna be, when you're out prospecting, you have to have the right mindset and the right lingo when you're out there. 50% of your time could be out prospecting for commercial, 50% of your time might be prospecting residential. It's important to know who you're talking to, right? Because if you're at a networking event out with residential lenders, you're not gonna be talking to a residential lender who only does residential mortgages and telling them you're a commercial realtor if you're trying to get business from them. It doesn't make any sense. But if you're out in an investment group, you're not gonna be saying you're just a residential realtor. You're gonna say, hey, for those of you who are out looking for investment properties, I specialize in commercial real estate. If that's what you want. So your new schedule, the new lingo, the new mindset, it all has to make sense. It's the new version of you. So it has to be wrapped into everything you do, everything you say, every activity. Point number next, being 50-50 is totally okay. So you don't have to be 100% one way or the other. You can be a residential and commercial agent. You can know how to do both. It is totally okay. You're allowed to have a multifaceted look at this business. It's incredibly important to know whatever you choose to do with your career, it is totally up to you. Your career can look like anything you ever want it to look like. If you want to be the biggest commercial realtor in town or the biggest residential realtor in town, it's all totally cool. Whatever you want it to be, it can look like. What's not okay is that if you have the mindset of becoming a top commercial real estate agent and you're prospecting for residential deals, you're hindering your ability to become number one in this space. If you want to be the number one residential person in the marketplace, then you shouldn't be prospecting for commercial, and that is totally okay. It's whatever you desire to do. So just make sure you stay focused, you put your energy and effort and mindset where your mouth is, because your income is 100% dictated on it. Your results, your future results are based off of what you're doing today, and you might be hindering your growth based on what you're doing on a daily activity. So if you want to be number one, if you have that vision, any part of what we're talking about today resonates, make sure you're scheduling a call down below in the description, because I'd love to connect with you. We are looking to also scale up our commercial team to a national level, and if you're open to having a conversation of possibly joining the team, if you think you might be a good fit and you want to apply for a position, we'd love to be able to speak with you. Other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everyone.
If you're still watching this video, that means to me that you're a committed real estate agent and you're looking to take your life and business to the next level. I'm just curious, why have you yet to schedule your free, no obligation coaching consultation? All you have to do is simply go in the description down below, and people are telling me this call has been the most unbelievable, the most powerful call they've had in their entire career. And here's just a few of the individuals who have taken full advantage of this call. And my mission is to support as many realtors as possible, build a 6- and 7-figure net income business so that they don't have to rely on this industry anymore for their everyday income. If you're a committed realtor, which I can seem like you are, all you have to simply do to take full advantage of this free coaching consultation is to go in the description down below and schedule your free call now.